Hey guys, I'm Mark Foreman.
And I'm Carrie Foreman, and this is Southeast Texas Sky.
We talk about all the space stuff happening just above our Orange, Texas backyard.
Whether you're a space nerd or just space curious, we've got you covered with stories, science, and a little Texas charm.
Let's
Let's
launch
launch
in.
in.
Today we're talking about SpaceX. And if you've looked up at the night sky lately, you might have seen one of their Falcon 9 launches lighting things up.
And if you've seen videos of those boosters landing like something out of a sci fi movie, yeah, that's real. I've seen them. They come back and land upright like they never even left.
That never gets old. That's one of the biggest game changers in modern spaceflight, reusability. SpaceX didn't just make rockets come back, they made rockets coming back routine. We're talking 408 successful landings as of March 26th, with a 97% success rate.
I remember when that first started happening, people weren't sure if it would actually work. Now it's like, oh, look, another perfect landing.
Exactly. In 2024 alone, SpaceX launched 134 missions, and most of those included a booster coming back down safely. Some of the boosters have flown over 25 times now.
So it's kind of like space recycling.
Pretty much. Every time they reuse a rocket, they save millions of dollars. And more importantly, they save time. That's a big part of what makes SpaceX different.
And now they're trying to catch the next generation of rockets with those big chopstick arms, right?
You got it. And that's really fascinating. That's part of their Starship system. The booster doesn't land on legs, it gets caught by two massive arms attached to the launch tower. They call it Mechazilla.
Which sounds like something out of like a monster movie.
It kind of is. Just a 400-foot rocket falling from space, and two arms catch it like it's no big deal. Starship has launched 8 times, and they've caught it all 3 times that they've tried to catch.
That still blows my mind. I mean, landing the rocket was already impressive, but catching it, why not just let it land?
That's a good question. It's all about saving weight. Landing legs add mass, and mass means less cargo. By catching it instead, they free up more room for things like satellites, supplies, or maybe even people.
So basically, they're trying to make future launches faster, cheaper, and able to carry more?
Exactly. Think of it like a NASCAR pit stop, but for space.
Okay, now I get it. Faster turnaround, more launches, less cost. Smart.
SpaceX is setting a whole new standard, and they're doing most of it from right here in South Texas. Boca Chica is just down the road.
Which is wild, honestly. That's something this high tech is happening basically in our backyard on what used to be a sandbar. All right, Mark, let's like bring it back down to earth. We've got some questions from our listeners.
My favorite part. What are folks curious about today?
Well, first up, we've got a question from Josh in Mauriceville, Texas, who asks, I love your photos. You always mention how far away the targets are. Do we really know how far away something is in space?
It's a great question, Josh. And thanks for following along with my photos. This is one of those things that sounds like magic at first, but it's actually based on some really clever science.
Well, I've always wondered that too. I mean, if we see a star or a galaxy way out there, how do we really know how far it is?
Well, there's actually several methods, depending on just how far that object is. For stuff relatively close to us, like nearby stars, we use something called parallax. Carrie, hold out your thumb at arm's length in front of you. Now blink one eye and then the other, back and forth. What happens to your thumb?
Oh, it jumps back and forth compared to the background beyond.
Exactly. Astronomers do the same thing by observing a star at two different points in Earth's orbit, say 6 months apart. That tiny shift lets us calculate the distance using good old geometry.
Okay, that makes sense for like things nearby. But what about those crazy faraway galaxies in your post? Like the ones that are millions or even billions of light years away?
Right. That's when we switch to different tools. One of the big ones is called a standard candle. A standard candle is something like a type of exploding star called a type 1A supernova. We know how bright it should be. So if we measure how dim it looks to us, we can figure out how far away it must be.
Well, kind of like if you know how bright a car's headlights are supposed to be, then seeing them dim lets you know how far away it is.
Exactly. That tells you it's far away. It's a perfect analogy, by the way. This is how Edwin Hubble profoundly changed our view of the universe when he proved that Andromeda was a whole different galaxy and not just a spiral nebula within the Milky Way. Now, for the really distant galaxies, we use something called redshift. Basically, how much the light has been stretched as the universe itself expands.
Oh, so the farther away something is, the more stretched out its light becomes?
That's right. The more redshift, the farther away it is. And the older the light is that we're seeing. Sometimes we're looking billions of years into the past.
Wow. So next time you say a galaxy is 2 million light years away, you're not just guessing.
Nope. Those distances are based on real observations in physics. It's a mix of angles, light, and some very smart math.
Well, Josh, thanks for sending in a question that made us actually smarter today. Well, here's one from Sierra in Magnolia, Texas. What is the first space thing you ever got excited about?
Great question, Sierra. Thank you. I've actually been asked something like this before, actually several times, along the line of how long have I been into space? And for years, I'd just say, oh, a long time, and leave it at that. But one day I sat down and really tried to remember. Turns out I've been into space pretty much my whole life. There are two early memories that stand out. The first was in kindergarten. Now, I can't tell you where I left my truck keys, but I can remember this as clear as day. Our teacher, Miss Hazelwood, rolled in an old black and white TV, and we sat cross-legged on the rug watching astronauts climb out of a space capsule bobbing in the ocean. I later looked it up, and matching the time, turns out that was Apollo 17 splashing down on December 19th, 1972 at 1:25 p.m. Central. I would have been right there in class. And what really stuck with me was the capsule itself. It had these strange balloon-like things on top. I mean, I'm 5 years old, but I'm fascinated by these little balloons, not the fact that astronauts just returned from the moon. I didn't know what they were, but I remember thinking it looked kind of like a frog puffing out its throat. My second memory was first grade. I wrote, and personally illustrated, by the way, my very first book, Mr. Rabbit Goes to Space. This is all of 6 or 7 pages, mostly drawings. I don't remember the whole plot, but I do remember Mr. Rabbit made it back to Earth, crash landing his spaceship in the city dump. I have no idea where that part came from. Perhaps I was making a first grade metaphor of how wasteful it is to use spacecraft just once. I'll go with that. So yeah, even if I didn't always look up, space has always been in the picture for me.
I kind of wish you still had Mr. Rabbit. I would have loved to have read that. Okay, so I think we have time for just one more question. Here's a good one from Emily in Spring, Texas. She wants to know, what's up with all the squirrels?
Yeah, the squirrels. Fair question. If you follow our page, you've probably seen a few pop up, sometimes on a telescope, sometimes riding an orange in deep space. Totally normal stuff, right?
Oh, yeah, totally. Let's not forget all the squirrel shells that you've nailed to the trees in our backyards that you could stick corn cobs and feed those badasses.
Well, yeah, I do kind of like watching them. It's fun to watch our fat cats try to catch them in futility. As far as the page goes, it started out as just a playful AI generated image for fun. And then it kind of became a thing. The squirrel's curious, always looking up, and probably doesn't understand half of what it's seeing, which, let's be real, makes it the perfect mascot for backyard astronomy.
And let's be honest, it's way easier to get people's attention with a squirrel in space than with a caption that says M104 again, but with better seeing this time.
Right. It's a reminder that astronomy doesn't have to be intimidating. It can be joyful, weird, and a little nutty. Pun intended. So yeah, the squirrel stays. He's one of us now.
Well, that's it for this episode, but be sure to follow and subscribe. And if you liked the show, leave a review or share it with someone who still thinks rockets can't stand or land, excuse me.
We'll be back soon with more updates from the final frontier.
Until then, look up and stay curious.
And keep watching the Southeast Texas sky.